Welcome to Wesknows Tech News and Reviews. Fitbit Ionic was the Fitbit Flagship since 2017. With the release of the Versa 2, Fitbit has introduced a second flagship model to its range of smartwatches. We've taken a good look at both models and put them in a head-to-head comparison to work out which one holds the advantage. If you are new to Wesknows Tech News and Reviews, we talk about the latest tech news. We do brutally honest reviews and share hacks and tricks along the way. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification so you don't miss out. It's important to remember that both smartwatches have almost identical functionality. The UI is the same. If the Versa 2 does it, so does the Fitbit Ionic. Pricing is also similar. Both cost around £200 or $200. There are really just 5 factors or differences that distinguish these smartwatches from each other. The first being display type. The Versa 2 uses an AMOLED screen, while the Ionic has an LCD panel. Secondly, Ionic uses a slower CPU simply because it was released 3 years prior to Fitbit Versa 2. The design is quite different on the two watches. Versa 2 is much more of a subdued Ionic. Smooth corners are not as conspicuous as the Fitbit Ionic. The fourth factor is the limited but nonetheless awesome voice control added to Fitbit Versa 2. It has Amazon's Alexa, and you can even talk your replies to texts. The Ionic doesn't have a built-in microphone, hence it misses out on voice control. But the Ionic is much more functional in terms of sports, as it does have inbuilt GPS. The Versa 2, on the other hand, is focusing on smartwatch functionality and offers connected GPS only. Having covered the highlights, let's dive into the details. We'll run through key areas, including things like designs, displays, pricing, and features, to make sure that you can make an informed decision about the watch you really need. Effectively, the main differences between the 2017 flagship Ionic and Versa 2 lie in the watch designs. In my view, the Ionic from Fitbit is very cool. Think about it, it doesn't pretend that it's a classic watch by design. It's a very sporty smartwatch. It looks techy and actually embraces the futuristic notions behind the smartwatch idea. The Ionic watch case is square, sitting in a plate of contoured aluminium. It's pleasantly cool to the touch. The glass is ever slightly curved and spans the watch face from corner to corner. There are 3 brushed metal buttons around the case, 1 hardware button on the left-hand side with another 2 on the right. You will notice that the back of the case is slightly raised, and that is also well thought through because your wrist doesn't just get sweaty when you're pushing yourself. The bands are attached directly to the aluminium case in a lugless fashion, again emphasizing the sportiness of the watch. The grey silicone strap in front of us is wide and tapered, hugging the watch to your wrist. A bit of a letdown is the plastic clasp. Considering the watch case is aluminium, we would have thought that the clasp could be aluminium as well. Forget about universal appeal. People either love it or hate it. Both smartwatches are relatively light. The Ionic is just 47 grams and Versa 2 is 38 grams with the straps on. Meanwhile, the Versa 2 is a slightly refined version of the original Versa 1 design, smoothing away some of the corners and losing the Fitbit logo on the lower bezel. Also a squarish watch case, but with softer rounded corners. The case is also aluminium, but much less distinctive than the Ionic. There's only a single button on the left of the watch case. Notice that the bands are also tapered to the side for that seamless look, but the straps here are the usual 20mm replaceable bands. The clasp is also made out of plastic. The band is significantly thinner and less rugged than the one on the Fitbit Ionic. The Fitbit Ionic features a colored 1.42-inch LCD display. It's so bright, going up to 1000 nits. The resolution is 250 by 348 pixels, while the Versa 2 has a 1.34-inch AMOLED display with a resolution of 300 by 300. And frankly, it's not nearly as bright as the Fitbit Ionic. Both watches have touch-navigated displays accompanied by the buttons rounding the watch cases. These are flagships and hence both have auto brightness available as well as always-on display options, adjustable screen timeout periods and so forth. Additionally, of course, you also have tons of watch faces to download from the Fitbit App Store to ensure the watch face is always just the way you like it. The Versa 2 has an inbuilt microphone and hence that opens up a whole array of options, one of which is access to Amazon's Alexa. It allows you to ask questions and make requests with your voice. So use the shortcut button or click on the app and ask away. Let's see how it actually works. And just a tip here, yes, you need an Amazon account to use Alexa on Versa 2. Okay, so we've mentioned voice control and you probably went all jittery with excitement, and rightly so. Not only do you get to chat to Alexa, if you have it paired to an Android device, you can speak replies to messages and it will turn those into text. The Ionic misses out on voice control due to not having an inbuilt microphone. Sports and activities management brings us to the topic of in-house GPS. The Versa 2 tracks exercise and can be taken to just about any activity, including running, biking, and free exercises in the gym. It's water resistant up to 50 meters, so you can take it swimming. You can keep up to 7 activities in your shortcuts, but there are 20 to choose from on the watch. The Versa 2's Achilles heel is the Ionic strength and prominent advantage. The Versa 2 doesn't have a built-in GPS, so you'll have to use a smartphone on your runs. The Ionic does have a GPS receiver and hence can be used independently from your smartphone, so the Ionic does have an upper hand in sport modes. Here's a tip. If you're looking for the sets of exercises to get back into shape or get fitter, check out a personal coach app you get via the Fitbit app. The app is great as it provides guidance, times you, as well as actually shows you how to perform the exercises. This brings us to SmartTrack. There are 7 auto-recognizable exercises like walking, running, and biking, but the additional smarts kick in with adjusting when the activity recording kicks in. SmartTrack is continuously running calculations to detect when you've been moving for 15 minutes or more, but you can adjust the setting to anything from 10 to 90 minutes really. If you are wondering why this is so useful, let's imagine that you just popped outside to the shop by your house and the walk to the shop is only 5 minutes. You probably don't want the watch to start recording this as a sporty activity. But if you are out in the park and have been walking for say over 10 minutes, then the activity recording will kick in. Very intelligent indeed. By following the intensity and patterns of your movement, SmartTrack recognizes the activity that you're doing and tracks your stats. When you have finished, a workout summary automatically gets logged to the Fitbit app. You can download up to 300 songs onto either your Ionic or Versa 2 for listening on the go. However, it's a bit of a gimmick on the Versa 2 because if you're a runner, biker or hiker, you potentially would go out without your phone and you would need inbuilt GPS in your smartwatch, as you do on the Fitbit Ionic. Nevertheless, for the occasional sports, the Versa 2 should suffice, since you would most likely have your phone with you at all times and use the smartwatch as an accessory to the phone. Here's a tip. You can download the Spotify app to your watch. There's just one little caveat in that. The Ionic and Versa 2 Spotify apps work only if you have the premium subscription service. Both watches charge from flat to full within 2 hours. The manufacturer is claiming 6 days plus for the Versa 2 and 4 days plus for the Ionic, with casual use. In general, I agree with the claim for Ionic, but the Versa 2's battery juice ran out within 4 days for me. Fitbit just can't seem to come up with a consistent charging dock for its models. The Ionic uses a charging cable that has a magnetic pin that attaches to the back of the watch case, while Versa 2 opts for an awkward clamp-like dock. You clamp the case, but then the clamp cannot be placed flat on any surface because the cord is sticking straight out of the back of it. To reiterate, both Fitbits are almost identical except for 5 major differences, which include the display type, AMOLED versus LCD. Also, Ionic uses a slower CPU simply because it was released 3 years prior to Fitbit Versa 2. There's no voice control on Ionic, while the Versa 2 has Amazon's Alexa and you can even talk to your replies to texts. But the Ionic has inbuilt GPS. The Versa 2 on the other hand is focusing on smartwatch functionality and offers only connected GPS. Design is quite different on the two watches. Versa 2 is less techy and looks like a much subdued Ionic. All in all, the Versa 2 is more of a smartwatch and Ionic is more sports oriented due to the inbuilt GPS. Both are intelligent and useful for daily wellness insights, getting fit and staying connected. But it's down to you to decide where your preferences lie. By the way, thank you to everybody who has already subscribed to the Wesknows channel. If you haven't though, please click on the red subscribe button below the screen to make sure you don't miss out on any of the new content coming out.